Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well. My name is Laura Scott, and I am an assertive life coach. I'm a trauma-informed life coach specializing in narcissistic abuse. So, I'm doing a little different video because I kind of wanted to introduce some astrology. So, if you're new to my channel, I mostly talk about narcissistic abuse and being trauma informed, but I also am an astrologer. I'm learning, I'm kind of at the beginning stages, but I really wanted to bring up some astrology today because as you guys know, it is Aries season. I'm an Aries. I just got my hair done today and I'm just feeling really good. So I was thinking I would bring up the current energies because in the astrology world, if you're following astrology at all, you probably know that everyone is talking about this giant Aries stellium. So I thought that we could talk about it today. So let me just bring that up. All right. So, what you're seeing right now is the current energies. I have it set to my hometown or around my area. And it is for this Monday. So if you're not familiar with looking at astrology charts, it can be really confusing, but I can try and interpret it. And I wanted to just bring in some ideas of what might be happening, and then I'm going to bring in my personal chart so that you can kind of see how it relates to me, how I'm dealing with all the Aries energy. And if you have a lot of Aries in your chart, it'll be really helpful. Even if you don't have a lot of Aries in your chart, if you want to just kind of listen and see like what might be going on overall for you. So we have one, two, three, four, if you count Eris, five, six, six planets and or asteroids that are currently in Aries. As the week progresses, we just added Mars. I believe that was on the 8th. We added Mars to the mix. And then Mercury is going to be added within, I believe, 2 days. Yes. So on the 15th, Mercury will be added. So what we're looking at right now, um, currently where I have it set, it's in the fourth and fifth house. There's kind of almost two stelliums. So a stellium, if you don't know, a conjunction is when two planets are right on top of each other. A stellium is three or more planets. So this stellium that is happening in Aries starts with Neptune, Mars, and Saturn. So I'm going to kind of break down what each planet means. So Neptune, Neptune can kind of be dreamy. It's very kind of can rule delusions. It can rule kind of ethereal things and things that are maybe not as tangible. So in Aries, it's not in its favorite sign. It doesn't, Aries is action. Aries wants to move. Aries wants to it's often an aggressive planet, even though it doesn't necessarily mean if you have a lot of Aries in your chart that you are an aggressive person. I would not consider myself to be. My name is assertive life coach, not aggressive life coach. So yeah, so I think that, sometimes when these planets are moving into signs that they're not exactly happy with, it can kind of create some like uncertainty and some kind of fogginess. But then Mars is actually in its home side in Aries. That the thing about that though is a lot of people are saying, okay, with the war, with everything going on right now, it could mean attacks, it could mean like aggression, it could mean more things. And that's true, like on the global scale. But as far as your personal life, Mars in Aries can actually bring more passion. It can bring a lot of an ability to take action on the things that you want to get done. So there's a lot of forward momentum. Whereas when we were in, all of these planets were actually, or not all of them, but a lot of them were in Pisces. So it's been moving out of the Pisces stellium into the Aries stellium. And I think it's a lot happier. Some of these planets are a lot happier in Aries, but it just means more forward movement. But the next planet, Saturn isn't necessarily happy in Aries. Um, Saturn rules discipline, rules, structure, and regulations, governments. And Aries is kind of an impatient sign. It doesn't want to be told what to do. It doesn't want to be told how to do it. It doesn't want to be told you have to follow the rules. You have to do it this way. So these kind of energies can be clashing. But what Saturn is doing is it's kind of teaching Aries to be patient. It's teaching Aries to be disciplined. It's teaching it, okay, you have the idea, you have the grand idea of like the thing that you want to get accomplished right now, but you maybe don't know exactly how to do it, and you don't have the discipline to actually do it. Well, I'm going to help you do that. So that's kind of like what the Saturn energy is doing right now. Then we kind of move to the sun sign, which when you ask somebody their astrology sign, that typically is the sign that they say. I would say that sometimes your rising sign is actually more of your personality if you don't kind of resonate with your sun sign. But as far as me, like I have a lot of planets in Aries, and I would consider myself more of an Aries than a Libra, but I do my Libra rising does like factor into a lot. So my the sun being in Aries, it really just is, the Aries season. It's kind of the kickoff to the Aries season. So it goes 24, 25, and 26. So um this next one is called Eris, and it's the asteroid of strife and discord. And it's not necessarily like something that you majorly play out in your astrology, but it's something to kind of think about. And with it being in Aries right now, and also being in the stellium and also so close to Chiron, it could be an issue. Chiron is the wounded healer. That's this green one here. Chiron is the wounded healer. It teaches us wherever in life that we've had a wound, we've had something that we've gone through. In order to learn the lesson, we must go through it in order to kind of become the healer and to teach other people. So, for an example, for like what I do, I had to go through, unfortunately, some narcissistic abuse myself. I had to deal with relationships in my past and still processing some, like right now as well. In order for me to want to have the drive to actually help other people through it, so then I can actually help other people who have also gone through it. So I really think for me as a coach, when I really want to kind of combine what I do as a trauma-informed life coach, I really want to look at where Chiron is in people's charts and just to see really um, why they have the wounds where they do. And it gives us such a lens of the trauma that they may have experienced. It's not everything. I feel like there are other layers to it, and maybe not everything in that particular house will resonate with the wound. But often I even think of it as something that we're supposed to overcome in this lifetime and even from past lives. So if you believe in past lives, like I believe that there could be some wounds that Chiron is bringing in from past lives as well. Okay. So I'm sure I'm giving you like a mouthful right now with everything. So I wanted to kind of go forward with this week to show you when things are kind of coming in. So I'm going to fast forward 2 days until Mercury comes in. So we're on the 15th of April now. Now, it just keeps adding more planets to this train. So, depending on where this is hitting in your chart, it's going to really light up a specific area of your life. For me, I'll show you my chart in a little bit. It's lighting up the sixth house. I have a lot of planets and Aries in the sixth house, and sixth house can rule work. It can rule your routines, what you want to, what you do day to day, and your structure. But it can also rule health issues. And for those of you who aren't familiar, I just recently went through this health issue where I was in the hospital and I am still kind of dealing with the fallout, especially with like the medical bills and all that kind of stuff with that. So that makes sense for me that I'm still kind of like on the recovery and like dealing with it and also still having some health issues from it. And I'm just having to like kind of go through the fire like with Chiron and stuff like to deal with that. Although Chiron is moving into my seventh house. But, another thing that I'm really noticing right now, as far as the current energies, this only has to do with the time of day. So like don't pay attention too much to the rising sign. But what I actually really notice is that Black Moon Lilith. So Black Moon Lilith is something that I really like to use in the charts too. It deals with anything kind of hidden, shadow aspects, anything that you really don't want to express. You're kind of like afraid to let people know these things about yourself. They're hidden, they're very can be actually like a very like Scorpio vibe to them. I have my Black Moon Lilith in my 12th house, which is dealing with the subconscious and like all that kind of stuff. Um, and it's also opposite all of my Aries. So this is getting activated for me. But as far as this chart, it being like, it depends on like where it is, but it being in the first house, it's kind of like we're going through so much shadow work right now. This week, I've heard a lot of other astrologers talk about how we're really going into the depths. We're going in order to actually get what Aries is trying to bring you, the accomplishments, the achievements, the assertiveness, the feeling like you're actually taking action and getting the things done. We can't get through that until we face a lot of our shadows. So we're really being told to face a lot of our shadows right now. We're told to like work on a lot of those things. And then I'm going to fast forward to the new moon. So the new moon right now, so this is on Friday, and the new moon, it's actually, let me do it by hour to see like when it goes direct. This is showing the moon in Taurus. So give me a second. Okay. So this is when, let me get it to 27 degrees. Um, okay. That's the exact full moon, new moon. Um, and all of these planets being, and it's very early in the morning. It's not, it's not in the middle of the night or anything. So all of this energy being in Aries, a lot of people are saying there could be there could be an event that happens on the global scale. Adding the moon into the mix, it obviously highlights our emotions. And it being in Aries, it could be, expressing some anger. It could be like allowing ourselves to actually feel what we're angry about, what we've kind of been betrayed about, maybe the things that we've kind of held back and stuff from expressing to another person. And really showcases like how each of these planets are really telling a story and building upon each other. It being so close to Chiron, this new moon being so close to Chiron, it's going to trigger our wounds. It's going to bring up like a lot of the aspects that maybe we don't want to face about ourselves, the things that whereas like Chiron is more of the wounded healer, it's actually like teaching us the lesson of the wounds. And Black Moon Lilith is kind of like the shadow work, the hidden aspects. They're very similar, and I believe they're making some aspects to each other. Let me check the grid. Um, yeah, so they're making some quincunxes to each other. Um, so And uh, you don't really have to know what that is, but it basically means that like they're playing off of each other. There's some aspects that Black Moon Love and like Chiron are coming in, and they're really saying you need to face this. You need to like focus. You need to actually like get the thing done that you want to do, but you can't get the thing done until you face the reason why you're not doing it. So I've been kind of toying with myself. I'm trying to start my business. I'm filing for my LLC. I have to do like all of these things, but that's the Aries in me wanting to not follow the rules, having to do structure, having to do things by the book. And I've been procrastinating on it. And I think there's also some aspects of like putting myself forward, even just like putting this video together and stuff like that. I'm like, what if I'm not good enough at astrology? And, I'm just beginning. And maybe some people have had years and years and years under their belt of like reading charts, but I'm just like kind of starting out. And like, what if I'm not good enough? And it's all those kind of things that are like the reasons we're stopping ourselves from doing the thing that we really want to do. So that's like what I'm kind of facing right now. Like it's just all of that energy of just like, okay, do the damn thing, like do it. Like we really have all of the motivation. And for me, it's like it's in my sixth house of like work, of like what I want to do. And I really like I have to stop like making excuses and stuff. And I'm saying this to myself, like really like just to remind myself that like yeah, like but and then that self-criticism comes in and it's like, "Oh yeah, that's why like you're not good enough. You're not like but we have to work through some of those issues, and being hard on ourselves like probably is not going to work this week. Being hard on ourselves, like having to like suck it up and deal with it and face it is not really the way to go. It's more of even though there's a lot of Aries energy and Aries can be like that, I really always believe that shadow work is best done with more gentleness. Like talking to yourself like like you're a child and healing your inner child. And really like getting honest with yourselves and saying why am I scared? Like why am I not doing this thing? And, it could be like I put myself out there and somebody laughed at me when I was a kid. I opened myself up and I tried this new relationship and I got really hurt. So I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not doing it again. I'm not gonna like face those things. And when we kind of dig deeper, um, we realize that those are the very things that we want, and that's the reason we're holding ourselves back. So, in order to kind of like heal it, we need to face these things and realize that we're not that kid. We're not that like small self anymore, and that we can actually like do it. So, what I was gonna do is I was gonna layer my own chart with this so that you can see kind of um how I do readings. I mean, how most people do readings, but how all of this Aries energy is really like playing onto my chart. So for me, all of this Aries energy, not all of it, but a lot of it is hitting my sixth house, and my seventh house as well. And I really think, them being like on top of each other is literally just sending this message Like it's some of it's empowering and some of it is just putting the more pressure. Like Saturn being on top of like not directly, but like close to my sun is putting the pressure and saying, hey, the thing that you like want to do that you are procrastinating on, you should get that done. And Mars, being the action, the drive, Mercury being the communication, how I'm communicating, and Neptune kind of being the fogginess. So with Neptune kind of in the mix here, it can be the story can be like, we want to discipline, do the thing, get it done. Mars is like arguing with it and going, yeah, but like, we need to take action now and we just like need to do it, like, and do it fast. And Saturn is just like, no, we need to slow down. We need to like make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's. And then Mercury being communication is trying to communicate like what, like how we need to get this done. And then Neptune's just kind of over here, like, trying to like um spiritualize it or just like get into, this kind of murky like area where like it's muddying some of the waters of like what we need to get done. So when you kind of look at all of that stuff and then you pair it with like my chart as well, you can see how that really adds to like a lot of what's going on. Um, Chiron being now in my seventh house, it's putting more emphasis on relationships for me. Um, Relationships can be like friendships, all that kind of stuff too. And I feel like there are some like wounds that I've been like working through, as far as that. Chiron doesn't move very fast, so it has been transiting my sixth house for a couple of years now. So now that it's in my seventh house, it's easing up a little bit on like some of the issues that I was dealing with the sixth house, but now it's like the seventh house. It's putting some major emphasis on a lot of like other issues that I'm having with relationships, with kind of like with friendships and with people in my life. So yeah, what else do I want to say about my chart? Oh, so another thing that's going on and that's coming up is that um Uranus is going to be going into Gemini soon. And I forget the exact date. Let me see. Oh, I'm on hours, that's why. Um, it is going on um on the 20 26th. So on the 26th, Uranus is moving into Gemini, and these outer planets changing is kind of like it's a big deal. So I don't know if you guys have been hearing Uranus being in Gemini. It last like one of the last times it happened was the Civil War. There have been kind of known to be some conflicts with the US specifically when Uranus has been in Gemini. But it doesn't necessarily mean that for your own chart. Like for me, what I'm seeing is it's going to be right over my Jupiter, and Jupiter expands everything. Uranus is kind of sudden shocks, changes, things like that. So it could be something to kind of like watch because it's a slow moving planet. It's going to be transiting for, let me do months, because it transits for long periods of time. So yeah, like as you can see, um, it only moved 1 degree like within a month. So it's like it's a very slow moving planet. So it's just something that to be mindful with while I'm dealing with, the idea about Uranus being sudden shocks, sudden surprises, sudden things that like kind of like force you to change in your life. So when we kind of look at astrology charts and the changes that happen, um, we mostly, I think it's easiest to kind of like look at the moon and how it's transiting. So the moon is in Pisces right now. Moon actually likes being in Pisces. It's very dreamy. It's very like watery. It's very kind of like, just like, goes with the flow, not really like that, um, it can be going with the flow, but it can also be a little bit emotional too. It can bring up a lot of emotions when we're dealing with all the Pisces energy. I don't know about you, but I was like crying a lot. So there could be a lot of that too. But it's moving pretty quickly. So it moves throughout the month. It goes through all of the signs. So when you're looking at your own chart, that's why it's really important to know your birth time and to know exactly like when things are kind of happening in your chart, and like to find your rising sign and to find the exact like moments and stuff of the moon, because it can change within your chart. Trying to think if there's anything else like I wanted to emphasize. I feel like for me, I'm gonna switch back to the current transit. I feel like for me, it this is, I mean, everyone's been saying it's an intense week. It can be very intense. It can be a lot to handle, but I feel like it just depends on like what is in your chart. So if you have a lot of fire sign, I would say that it probably is going to like affect you because it's going to trine. If you have Leo or Sagittarius in your chart, if you have a lot of that, it's going to trine all of that energy, and a trine is favorable, but when it deals with so much heavy energy, it just like it adds a little bit of weight to everything. So I would say just be a little bit careful. They're also saying that the cardinal signs, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries, um, it's going to make aspects for us. It could be making some square energy. And let me switch back to my chart here. Um, yeah, this one. And it it could, it could be dealing with some square energy. Like as you can see for me, there are some squares in my chart. There's a lot of emphasis on if we have a lot of concentrated energy in cardinal signs, it could be causing some issues. For me, I'm a Libra rising, so it's putting a lot of pressure on my Libra aspects, and it's creating oppositions for that. And um it can be a little bit intense. And I don't want to scare you because I feel like a lot of people are like, war, war, this means war. Like there's so much Aries energy. It's just like Mars is in war and like all of this stuff. And yes, like those things can happen on the outside world. But it really, if you look at your own chart and you can find out like what is going on specifically for you, you can focus on the things that you need to like accomplish and try to kind of tune out some of the outside world. I say this and I like doom scroll at night. So like I understand. It's not easy to like completely cut yourself off from what's going on. But I really think that if you can learn to really like dive into your chart, like understand yourself and how you operate, how you handle things, why things are the certain way for you, it can really help you navigate any of these transits that are going on and not let everything just completely throw you off. For me, when I was going through my health issues, when I had my surgery, Chiron, as I said, Chiron was transiting my sixth house, and it was at the end degrees of Aries in that chart. And so, like, I realized that it was really just teaching me a lot of lessons on how these wounds are coming up for me, literal wounds. Like I have the scars to prove it. And also, mental wounds and things that I'm still recovering from just dealing with the medical trauma. And every layer of different traumas and different things in my life have added a different layer that I can help people with. And I think I've been kind of toying with the idea that life coaches, like, we're supposed to follow a niche and, like, that's our thing. Like, that's the only people that we gear ourselves to. But as I've been branching out into like all different things, I'm like multifaceted. I have a lot of different tools under my belt. I really believe that astrology is an amazing tool to like understand yourself. I think you can help heal and understand trauma in such a better way by really knowing your chart. And I think that's something that, I want to bring into my coaching. And so I've been thinking about offering $25 readings. So if you got anything out of this, if you really felt like this kind of like called to you, um, just DM me or like in the comments, just put your the emoji of your astrology sign. Just put the emoji of your astrology sign and I'll send you some information. I'm gonna start offering this pretty soon. I'm not sure like when, but I'm gonna be offering for $25 to do like about an hour reading. And it would be similar, it would be on Zoom, and I'd pull up your chart and then we'd first focus on your chart. I'd come up with like some ideas of like what your chart means, kind of like get into the grid of like who you are based on your astrology. And then we'll play into what's going on in the world. And we can really kind of dive in. And maybe you're dealing with something in your life and you're just like, why am I dealing with this right now? I just don't understand. And often it shows up in our charts when we're dealing with something. Like for right now, honestly, if I didn't understand the astrology, I would kind of like be like, what is going on with me? Like, why am I dealing with all of this stuff right now? But now looking at my astrology, I'm like, oh, okay. So like it might be a little bit like a lot to process right now. And that's okay. And now that I know, like I can kind of deal with it better. So let me know if you are interested. And as always, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna try to put out more astrology videos. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this, if you think that, this might be like the right direction for me, if you think that I should, do more astrology videos, kind of tying in, like I'm considering like understanding narcissism through the lens of astrology as well, and kind of like showing in charts and stuff like that, maybe like where there might be areas that are a little bit more narcissistic than others. So like just there's a lot of ideas I'm toying with. So just let me know down below if you think anything sounds good. And yeah, so thank you guys so much and I will talk to you guys later.